And showtime! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Channel Pro 5-Minute Roundup. Look at news, tips, and trends for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the Channel Pro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing?
Doing well this week, Rich. How about you?
I am doing well too. I am home this week. It is summer in Seattle. It's a brief period of the year here, but it's very nice, and I am enjoying it.
Yeah, we dropped 10 degrees in temperature in the last couple of days, so not bad here in SoCal. It was like in the 90s. Today it's like low 80s, so not too bad.
Very interesting. Well, we're right about in the same range actually. It's probably doesn't happen all that often.
Hmm.
Well, Eric, I'm going to dive right into our top story this week, and I'll kind of kick that off the same way I did on the other podcast I do, Channel Pro Weekly, by saying kudos to Enable for moving very quickly. Because, and we may even have spoken about this on the show before, just a few weeks ago in July, Enable announced that they had acquired a company named Spin Panel that makes cloud management software. And this week, they announced that they have a cloud management product of their own based on the Spin Panel software. It only took them a few weeks to get that out there. It is called the Enable Cloud User Hub. It is a user management platform for Microsoft 365. So adding and managing accounts, adding and removing users, assigning and buying licenses. Obviously it's multi-tenant, it's centralized, it's designed to ease some of the headaches that channel pros are experiencing right now around cloud management. To that end, there's automation built into it. They have this kind of drag and drop interface where you can pull in different steps that you would typically perform for certain processes that you do on a regular basis, and then you can kind of run these things on an automated basis by executing that code. They've got some cost optimization functionality in there that can kind of help you identify licenses that your customer is paying for but not using and maybe could save some money by eliminating. There's some security functionality in there around role-based permissions and privileged access management. You can also do security assessments of a customer's cloud environment and kind of point out some opportunities to help them eliminate vulnerabilities there. About 30 to 45 days from now, they're going to add billing functionality to this, which will be heavily automated and will take care of a lot of that billing reconciliation work that a lot of partners have to do manually right now. And it's very time consuming. That's another thing that you're going to be able to do with this product here. Further on down the road, they're going to have what they're calling triggers, automated responses to triggers. So right now, if you want to run one of those automations I was talking about, you kind of click on it and it goes. But within the next few months, you'll be able to say, under these predefined conditions, if this happens, I want you to just immediately run that automation. And there will be some integration, some connectivity to Microsoft's Power Automate platform as well. So all that is interesting, especially if you are an Enable partner. I think what's significant about this, Eric, is this gets to a sort of ongoing theme that we've touched on a bunch of times on the 5-minute roundup, which is just this idea that especially over the last 2.5 years, most of what SMBs do that really kind of matters, they do in the cloud. And so cloud management is a big deal for MSPs and other channel pros out there. The traditional RMM systems from the big names out there are very device oriented, don't have a lot of cloud management functionality, which has allowed or created space for born in the cloud management vendors like Skykick and Augment and Better Cloud, Nerdio, Jump Cloud. A lot of these companies that have come up that just focus on cloud management. And the question has kind of been, how long are they going to have this field all to themselves before the big names, the Kaseyas, the ConnectWises, Datos, and Enables start entering that space too? And once that happens, who has the advantage there? The smaller, nimbler companies that really know the cloud inside out, or the bigger, more established companies with big partner bases and deep pockets and integrated suites, et cetera. We are finally at the stage of that story where now we're starting to see the big names get into the market. Enable is first there. We know that Kaseya has said that they're going to have a product towards the end of this year. I'm sure we're going to be hearing things from Datto and ConnectWise soon too. And so the whole race to the cloud management pot of gold, Eric, has taken a significant step forward.
You bet, Rich. And I'm. We have covered this theme, this category, a lot on the program, and we've covered the category of mergers and acquisitions a lot, and these are converging. I mean, these nimble organizations that are creating this now. I'm going to make a bold statement, Rich, and I'm going to say it is a requirement now for channel pros and MSPs to adopt these types of solutions to simplify the management of these cloud workloads and the billing and all the time and labor intensive stuff that we're having to do now. I'm seeing the shift. I'm seeing the movement in this direction. And as these vendors that are more born in the cloud get out there and develop these great technologies to help these channel pros and MSPs, just like Enable, they acquired this technology through an acquisition. I'm predicting that these larger organizations that we're more familiar with that you just mentioned, that's a big ship, and to develop something internally sometimes doesn't make as much sense as just identifying the best of the options that are out there and then bringing that in-house through an acquisition and then rolling it out to the partners, because we know we're never going back, Rich. We know that post-pandemic, post the economic situation that we're in now, more and more cloud migration, security, cybersecurity, and remote workforce support, all of these things tie together from delivering services on a consumption and subscription-based model. That's where we're going. That's where the channel pros and MSPs are going, and our vendors have to be there with us for us.
Yeah, I completely agree. Basically, this is a function every channel pro who provides services to customers needs to be able to handle, which means that they're going to need a tool to do it. Who they get that tool from is very much TBD, but this is a requirement in the channel right now going forward. We're just a few weeks away from DattoCon, the Datto Partner event, Eric, and I'm not hinting that I know something is going to be announced there. I don't, but it'll be interesting to see if they have something to say about cloud management at that event. Stay tuned, folks. The story continues. Now, one thing I didn't mention is that this Cloud User Hub from Enable does not currently integrate with their RMM or PSA systems, but integration figures pretty prominently in your tip of the week. Eric, what is that?
Yeah, Rich, just a couple of tips around platform integration to help our partners out there have more confidence in the data that they're measuring in order to make the best data-driven decisions. Now, I did a webinar today and I talked about 3 strategies of high-performing service desk managers, and I covered optimization and integration between PSA platforms, RMM tools, documentation platforms, and accounting systems. And I want to just pull 2 of those out of that larger discussion for the tip of the week this week. And I'm talking about the PSA solution and the accounting system. What we want to make sure is that we are optimizing our PSA solution as much as possible, Rich, so that not only are we capturing like ticketing information and things like that, but the things that really give us a profit versus cost analysis opportunity. And I mean entering in the salaries of our technical staff, entering in the retail pricing of all of our services, getting our agreements into the platform, and then optimizing, categorizing our tickets in such a way so that we can run reports, so that we can parse how much time it takes us to close different categories of tickets, right? And what it costs us to do so, and then integrating that into our accounting system so we get away from more of a blended awareness of performance and cost and profitability, and become much more granular, become much more able to granularly look at what we're doing and identify the actual billable performance of our staff, how much time they're actually applying towards billable work or against service agreements, and how much time we're doing things that are not focused that way. So one of the analysis, and I'll leave us with this point, that I like to do with partners that I work with, is to understand and identify the work types, right? What is the work type? Is it a non-bill or a no charge, or is it an internal type of a work type? Like, how much time are we as leaders preventing our team from billing by involving them in lots of internal projects, or involving them in lots of meetings that maybe they don't need to be in, or meetings that have no agendas, that kind of meander and wander around and things like that, right? It's the difference between utilization, in my definition of performance, utilization being how much time someone works, like I'm at work every day, 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, whatever that is, versus realization, how much of that time actually is billable or being assigned to an agreement. And that's what we really need to fight. That's the big question I ask partners when they say, well, Eric, we are so overworked, we need more technicians. And I say, well, what are they doing all day, right? If 60% of their time is on noise and admin stuff and all these other things, or manual labor intensive work that can be, overcome by some automated platforms like ones we just talked about, why are we not doing that and giving those technicians the opportunity to do the thing that only they can do, is to deliver billable service, right? So let's look at what they're doing. Let's make sure that we're only giving them work that is billable, especially on a tier 1 service desk. Only send tickets that can be solved in tier 1 to tier 1 technicians. Don't send tickets to them that they have to escalate out later and then someone else has to touch. I'm getting off my soapbox now, Rich, but let's integrate our platforms. Let's put the information and data in there and then integrate it so that we can actually see what's going on. And one of the biggest objections I tend to get sometimes, Rich, from partners is, well, we don't want to put in all that salary information in our PSA because we don't want the team to know what everybody's making. Well, Rich, there's a thing called permissions, right? So you don't have to expose sensitive information to staff that doesn't need to know that stuff, but you need to know that stuff. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, and I really want to kind of reinforce that piece of the story there about getting the data into the system, because tracking time, keeping service rates, complete and up to date, it's not the most exciting thing that you do. It's not why you or your employees got into IT. And yet there really is only one, from my non-expert perspective, there really is only one right way to make business decisions, and that's to base them on real complete data. And if you don't have real complete data in your systems, you're going to be making your decisions based on a flawed picture of how your business is actually performing, and probably suffer the consequences. So again, not the most exciting part of your job, but getting all of that data into the system on a timely basis, making sure it's complete and accurate, and that it's flowing to the accounting system, from the PSA system, wherever those integrations are, on a regular basis, is just really critical to running your business well.
Agreed, Rich. And the takeaway here is, have the confidence in the data, right? Having more accurate data and having the confidence in that data to make those decisions. Because like you say, otherwise, if you're just making a best guess based on, not inaccurate data, you run the risk of kind of rolling the dice on some of your decisions, some key decisions.
So, important topic. It leaves us with time for just one more story this week, and Eric, we are used to police officers doing heroic, emergency resolving work. So much so that we probably take it for granted way more than we really should. But I've got a story for you here about a police officer stepping in to resolve an emergency in a way that's maybe a little bit less conventional. This comes to us from Boston, where someone named Patrick Mahoney was going to be married on Thompson Island, which is apparently in the middle of Boston Harbor. The boat that was supposed to take him, not just him, but him and the photographer and the DJ and the florist and all the groomsmen, the boat was broken. It couldn't get them out to the island, and he was in danger of missing his own wedding. Well, onto the scene, somehow or another, comes Officer Joe Matthews of the Boston Police Department in a police boat, and he stepped in, brought everybody out to the island. Wedding went off without a hitch. Thank you very much, Officer Matthews.
Yeah, it's an uplifting tale when you read about the stories these days, about when police have to get involved in law enforcement and things like that. It's nice to hear a happy ending, an uplifting tale, and it's awesome.
I agree. And as far as I know, nobody dialed 911 here. This was just an officer on the job doing a good deed and enabling this happy couple to get hitched. Well, folks, that is all the time we've got this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. We thank you so much for joining us. If you didn't know it, we are both a video and a podcast these days. So if you're watching the video, but you like podcasts, well, go to wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Google or Apple or Stitcher or Spotify, you name it. You're going to find us there. You can subscribe, rate, review. We would really appreciate it. If you are listening to the podcast, but you'd like to check out one of the videos, go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube, because that's where you're going to find all our shows. And again, you have an opportunity to become a subscriber there. You can also click the little bell icon if you want to get notified when the new episodes go up. You can read more about the Enable Cloud User Hub and get all sorts of great business growth advice for your company every day at channelpronetwork.com. We have got awesome new content going live for you there every day. If you want to learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, you should go to ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, folks, we thank you so much for joining us. We're going to see you again with another episode of the show here. Until then, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.